Hello and welcome to our second prospect NHL Canadian team prospect episode. I don't know how else we're going to call it, but today we went a little further west. The next Western team, I believe, in the Ottawa Senators. And honestly, this is like the most interesting one for me because like if you half of their team is like 22 or 23.
Basically, all their prospects are like on the team.
Yeah, exactly, right? But they have a couple that aren't. So I guess we have, and so as you guys, if you guys remember, last week we like went through the Hockey Writers website and they had Montreal ranked. I think it was what 10th.
Yes.
Yeah. Ottawa is ranked 6th in that group, and they used to be ranked 2nd. But I think they moved from 2nd to 6th because of all of the guys that graduated to the NHL level, like the Stutzlas of the world, the Norris, who else do they have?
Artem Zub or Zub.
The Zub guy, yeah, Zub is good, man.
Yeah,
Zub's doing well. He's 26, so he's up there in age, but they're Ottawa Senators, in my opinion, have the strongest prospect pool of any Canadian team. I think so, and I think they have the right kind of prospects. So I mean, we'll touch base again on who is still considered a prospect in a second, but they have like their captain Brady Tkachuk, just 22 years of age, one of the best power forward wingers already in the league, and he's only going to get better. I really like Tkachuk as a player. He's a jerk, and not many people like him, and I love that about him. You know what I mean? So looking at this, so their Ottawa Senators are ranked in 6th. Their previous ranking was 2nd. They had key subtraction/graduates that have moved on to the NHL level, and Tim Stützle and Josh Norris.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Norris and Tim Stützle, in my opinion, are both most certainly top 6 forwards. I honestly think Tim Stützle will be a number 1 center in this league. I think he has the talent to do it. He has the
potential for sure.
100%. And I think if he gets developed properly with the leadership around him, that will be perfect. They don't have necessarily that much leadership on the team right now. A veteran leadership, sorry. They have a lot of young leadership, but not a lot of veteran. But I digress. Mm-hmm. So moving on to like who they have. So their top 5 prospects at this moment are Logan Brown, Jacob Bernard Docker, Alex Formenton, Shane Pinto, and Jake Sanderson. So it's interesting. So as of right now, in my opinion, like Jake Sanderson is probably the best prospect that they have. He is a defenseman, and the Jake Sanderson and Thomas Chabot in that back end. I don't remember. Is Jake Sanderson a lefty or righty? I can't remember this, but he's pretty darn good. And he definitely will be a top 4 defenseman in the NHL, and that's like there's not many of them. You know what I mean? Like he should be really good. He's a good prospect for them, and they have their prospects in the positions that they need, which is pretty incredible. Like Chabot is a number 1 D, and he will be a number 1 D for a while. Stützle will be a number 1 center. You have Norris, Brown, and Pinto, who will be good wingers. So your top 6 is set for years to come as long as you can sign them. Your bottom 6, you can find players from other teams or like signings or like.
Yeah.
Although building a team through free agency is a lot tougher because like you have to overpay a lot of the time.
No, but right? Like just to get like those depth players.
Yeah. Oh, I absolutely agree. Now, my biggest thing though is most certainly it's man their goaltending. They don't have a legit star coming out from goalie right now. It's just not a thing. It's just if this team gets a good goalie to come up, then absolutely this is going to be an unbelievable team for years to come. But they don't have a good goalie right now in the system, pretty much at all. Like I don't know, man. I don't know what they're gonna do with that, but I guess they have a lot of time to figure that out, right?
Yeah, but like it's gonna definitely like hinder them like rebuilding, since like if they keep losing or whatever, then probably most of their prospects or their young players are just gonna leave, and then that's definitely not good for Ottawa.
No, I know it's happened for the longest time. They just won't sign their players, but anyways, like most of their team has been, I'd say about 35% of their team No, a lot of their team has been has drafted, really, which is pretty darn good. But so like their prospect pool, like those are some really good top 5 prospects. Like Jake Sanderson will be a second pairing lefty for years to come. He's not going to be better than Thomas Chabot, but a Chabot and Sanderson top 4 on your left side, that's deep. That's really 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 good. They don't have like Artem Zub is playing pretty decent as the right D. I don't think he's the number 1 pairing guy, but they have this kid Jacob Bernard Docker who is a right D himself, and he's going to come up, so he has a good chance at maybe not being the top pairing, but a good second pairing kind of guy. That'll be an interesting thing. And Chicago Blackhawks of 2010, I believe, were able to prove that goaltending doesn't necessarily, you don't have to have the best goalie in the world to win.
Yeah.
Because they won with Antti Niemi. Not a huge knock against Niemi, but he's not a generational goalie. He's not a superstar goalie.
He's not like fast.
He's not even an all-star.
Like flurry.
He's just an average guy at best. So, I mean, you can win with average goaltending, but they're not even getting that right now. But, anyway, but I do want to touch base, like, so their prospects are 6th ranked in the entire NHL, but again, like they have Brady Tkachuk, who's 22, Drake Batherson, who's going to be a really good top 6 forward,
really good,
23. You have Josh Norris, who is a part of that prospect pool right now technically, but since Ottawa has like 1,000 players with COVID right now, a lot of players are playing up. You have Tim Stützle, who's only 19, who again, genuinely, I do believe he will be a number 1 center in this league. I really, really feel that way. They have, who else is young? They have Igor Sokolov, who I think is like a bottom 6 forward for them right now, but he's 21 years old.
He's still young, yeah.
Shane Pinto, who's going to be a very good 2-way forward. He's part of that top 5 prospects that they have, but again, he's only up there because of injuries. You have Thomas Chabot, who's 24, who in my opinion is a top defenseman in the league. You have Lassie Thompson, who's playing right now, who's like a bottom pairing kind of defenseman. Like, you need those in your team, though. You need big guys like that. But then that's about it. Like, they have Philip Gustafsson, who's currently they're young. Like, they have he's 23. He's probably their best bet to be a starting goalie in the future. But I don't think he's an all-star. I think he'll be like a fringe NHL starter / backup. I think a comparable would almost be like a Talbot. You know, Talbot was like a really good backup for a long time and started for a bit and then played well, but then like faltered and I think like a Talbot would be he would be kind of like a Talbot.
Well, like this year he's doing really well though. So
if he can have a career like Talbot, that's great.
Then
but Philip Gustafsson has had some big games already for them, and like the games that I've seen him. Honestly, he's pretty decent.
Yeah.
He's been pretty good. But again, they don't have a superstar caliber goalie coming up in the system at all. And I don't actually see them getting one. Like, it's tough to get a superstar goalie. Like, what they could have... So this last draft, they had the 10th overall pick, and they reached for some guy. I forget what the guy's name is, but, like, according to, like, who was it? Tyler Boucher. He just completely reached for him at 10. They could have gotten that Swedish kid, the Wallstedt. Jacob Wallstedt. Yeah.
Are you even Kosa?
No, Kosa was gone to Detroit by then.
Oh, I thought he was a little bit later.
No, Kosa was like the 8th overall pick, I think.
I thought he was later.
I know. He was projected to go around to Edmonton, and I was hoping Edmonton would get him, right? But Detroit picked him, which I think Kosa is the better goalie of the two anyways. I don't know how he was projected so low.
He was like 1A to 1B, 1A or 1A to Wallstedt or whatever. But yeah, no.
It's interesting. So I think that's the biggest thing for them. It's just like they have like their prospect pool. Half of them are in the NHL right now, and half of them are still juniors, right? Like, are still playing in like the minors or junior, but whatever it is. But yeah, and then, like their 10th overall pick last year was Tyler Boucher, and so many people are considering him a huge reach. But he's a right shot forward.
No, Kosa went 15th overall.
15th?
Yeah.
Okay, you're absolutely... Oh, yeah, then they could have gotten Kosa. I'm interested as to why they would have gone for Boucher then. Like, they must have seen something in him. I think he's just a big physical presence, from my understanding. Like, I don't know.
I don't
But
know.
it's interesting. Like, obviously, GMs know a lot more than you and I, so they
But
clearly see something.
you have good defensemen coming up. You have good forwards coming up. Don't
But
really have good goalies. Why didn't you go for?
then that's the thing, though. Like, that's the biggest. That's huge thing in the draft. Like, do you draft for positional need, or do you take the best player available, no matter what position? I'm under the impression you go for the best player available, unless it's like a
Unless it's
50-50, and then you go for.
I would go for best position unless you really need like, or less or
Best player, unless you're
available.
desperate
Unless you,
for.
yes.
Yeah. But that also being said, though, if you draft a goalie now, he won't be ready for
No, we
3,
have
4
Murray
years.
for like a couple years.
Murray's terrible.
I know, but like
Murray's playing
just
bad.
saying, like you have Murray.
Yeah, I think
We
it's
have-
like I think it's the same thing with the Oilers. It's like they didn't draft Wallstad or whatever his name is.
They
Jesper. They traded down, and
Yeah.
then they got Xavier Bourgault, and then
He was doing pretty good. So
yeah, he's a 2 point a game player right now in
Yeah.
the juniors. But we're not talking about the Oilers
No.
right now. My bad. Sorry, guys. But yeah, it's like he's a physical player. He's not going to be a first liner, but he's going to be like a solid second or third line checking winger, that Tyler Boucher kind of guy. But
yeah,
yeah, personally for me, you take the best player available. But this Boucher guy was a reach. Like, let's not even kid ourselves. He was definitely a reach at 10. Like, I don't think many people had him in their top 10. I think he was like more of like a late first, early second.
like right now with Boston University, it only has 2 points in 12 games. So I guess it's still early. He's still super young. So I guess we'll see later.
We'll see. But these guys, like, again, this team is really one that's a lot of their prospects are playing in the NHL right now. I'm interested to see how they're gonna, because like the Oilers for the longest time as well just brought their guys up and started playing, and it wasn't great for their development. So I'm hoping Ottawa needs to bring in some veteran leadership in there to help them, because like half their prospects are playing in the NHL right now, and like I guess they're learning from there, but. I don't know. I think they're set on defense and they're set on forward for the next while, for a long time. And they have really deep teams in both of those. And I think Tim Stützle, here's a hot take. Tim Stützle will be a top 10 center in the league in 5 years. That's my hot take. Top 10?
10?
Top 10.
Center,
Center.
not forward.
Center, correct.
Yeah.
Not forward.
Okay. In the next 5 years, maybe I can.
Because I think a couple of guys are going to age out of there,
Yeah.
right? McDavid should still be there. Draisaitl should still be there. Matthews should still be there. McKinnon should still be there. I think those are going to be the 4 best players in the league.
Yeah.
For a long time. Not just like centers, like players.
Yeah.
Yeah. But and Eichel will be back.
Eichel will be back.
Yeah. But Tim Stützle is like Germany's team's gonna be so good
Whew.
for the future, because
I'm
they have
actually
Moritz Seider, who's a number 1 D. They have Grubauer, who's actually decent once he plays with a good team in front of him. They have Zub. Zub is also German, isn't he? Pretty sure.
I believe so.
His name sounds German. Let's not even kid ourselves.
No, he's Russian.
Unfortunate. All right, Zub, change over to Germany and he'll play for them. But yeah, he'll. They have a good team, man. That's gonna be interesting. But Tim Stützle is gonna be a big part of that. A second line center for that team.
It's gonna be exciting to watch the Olympics, like Germany with Stützle.
Yeah, and what was I gonna say? It will be good. It will be good. And this team, so yeah, Tim Stützle's gonna be an unbelievable player. Shane Pinto's gonna be a very, very good 2-way forward. Like, I see him being either their second line center or their third line, like, shutdown kind of center. And everybody needs that. And he was drafted pretty high, Pinto, but like, if you get a legitimate third line center who can give you 40 points a year, 40 to 45 points a year, and just be a really good defensive kind of player, that is huge. Huge. And then they have Brady Tkachuk and Batherson, their top 2 wingers. Then they have Josh Norris, who will play their second center position with, like, yeah, and then they have a couple of young wingers coming up.
Mm-hmm.
They should be good for years to come. And this Ottawa's prospect pool is, again, their biggest miss right now is goaltending.
Yep.
But that also being said, Philip Gustafsson is looking pretty decent right now. So hopefully he can keep it up. Anything you want to add on Ottawa? I do think they have the best prospect pool in Canada.
In Canada?
Right
No,
for
yeah,
the Canadian
definitely.
teams. Well, actually, if you consider those who are not in the NHL, no. I think they're like second best. But if you include their young players under the age of 24 that are in the NHL, 24 and under,
they have
100%.
Yeah.
100%. How old is McDavid now? He's 24. Yeah, because he's born 97. We're in 2021, and he was born January. Yeah. Okay, correction. 24 and under, and we're excluding McDavid from anything. But yeah, I mean this Ottawa team has a really bright future ahead of them. Hopefully they figure out a way of signing all of their talent. I mean they found a way with both Shabbat and Tkachuk. It'll just be interesting. I do think they have 8 legitimate top 6 forwards in the system right now. I think 2 of them will get traded obviously for different pieces. I can see 2 of them will probably be getting traded in the future in order to be able to bring in a goalie or maybe some more defensive help. They have 2 really good lefties. Thomas Chabot will be a number 1 D. And then Jake Sanderson will be a really good second pairing lefty. Jake Sanderson is probably going to be equivalent to like Clefbaum good. Like first, if Clefbaum was a second pairing D, he was like one of the best second pairing Ds in the league, honestly.
Mm-hmm. And then you have it's going to be tough if they want to sign all their young players. It's going to be tough. Because they only have, right now, they only have $6.6 million in cap space.
Yeah, but then you also have like Tierney, Zach Sanford, Nicholas Paul. Like those 3 aren't like Tierney isn't going to make 3.5 again this year.
No.
Right, and you can just bring in cheaper guys. But you need the veteran leadership, man. Like they need veterans on that team. Like they have 1 guy in their 30s. Sorry, 2 guys in their 30s in their forward group. Tyler Ennis, who's 32, who's playing 4th line minutes, and Andrew Agosino, who's also who's 30 and he's also playing 4th line minutes.
On their defense, they have 2 in their 30s, and Nikita Zaitsev and Michael Del Zotto.
And Del Zotto's their 7th D, and Zaitsev is playing. I think he's playing top pairing minutes right now, but he's not a top pairing defenseman. Yeah, but anyways, I think that's everything for the Ottawa Senators. I'm excited for Senators fans. They've had a terrible owner for the longest time, and they're finally like really starting to look. This is looking good. We didn't even mention Brandstrom.
No, we didn't.
Who came from the
the Vegas trade? No.
No, it was the San Jose trade.
San Jose trade.
Yeah.
Was it?
He was the piece that came for Karlsson. He was like the big piece that came for Karlsson. I think so.
No, because there was the...
It was an exchange for...
Isn't it?
Mark Stone. Mark Stone was Brandstrom. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Brandstrom still he's not performing as well as he could, but they got some in the Karlsson trade. They got Tierney, who's on the team right now, Francis Perron, Rudolph Balcers, Dylan DeMello. DeMello isn't on the team anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Norris, and their 2020 first round pick that actually ended up in Tim Stützle.
With the Mark Stone trade?
In the Karlsson trade.
Oh, the Karlsson trade.
That was a good trade for them. just Norris and Stützle alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good trade. Anywho, that's everything for the Ottawa Senators. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you later on this week.